With us now is a very special guest, the former president of Bulgaria, Rosen Plevneliev. President Plevneliev is a partner and senior member of IMPROVATE's advisory board, leading IMPROVATE's extensive network of connections across Central and Eastern Europe. Prior to serving as president of Bulgaria from 2012 to 2017, he was a successful entrepreneur himself who set up the largest business park in Southeast Europe. As president, he promoted high-tech industries in Bulgaria and continues to do so in his present capacity as a businessman.
Dear Irina, dear Ronit, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friend, we are shocked to see a war after 8 years coming back to Europe. Our hearts are broken when we see theaters, schools, kindergarten being bombed, when we see thousands of innocent children losing their lives, when we see tens of thousands of soldiers, innocent soldiers, of both sides losing their lives, when we see millions of people being displaced. Dear friends, we have to stand up for the sovereignty and freedom of Ukraine. We need and we have to do everything possible for peace and not war to prevail. We need and have to do everything possible together so those who perpetrated a war, those who are committing crimes, I'm talking about the dictator in Moscow and his mafia, they need to be put in court and they need to pay the price, because we will definitely restore Ukraine to glory. We will be with Ukraine to help them, because they deserve. And they fight not just for their freedom and liberty, they fight for our world, they fight for our liberty. And they, at the end, you will see that actually they fight also for a new dawn, for a new phase, and for a new hope also for people in Russia, beyond what they will see as a regime of a one dictator. Dear friends, I'm saying all of this because, yes, we are rational. We're coming from all parts of the world together, but also we need to be emotional. We need to put our hearts and our minds and understand that today it's so simple. It's not gray, it's just black and white. It's black and white. And you see good and bad, as Irina is saying. It's clear who is on the good, who is on the bad side. It's clear who is perpetrating crimes against humanity. It's clear who was the aggressor, who was the attacker. And we need to keep it that way. Have a clean brain, act decisively together for the future. Speaking about the future, dear friends, who else but one country, who else but one nation is giving the solution? And that's Israel. Because they started from the war. They had to fight wars for their independence. It was difficult. We saw what happened during the Second World War, losing millions of innocent lives. And you see today, the future comes, and the future represents what we see in Israel. A peaceful country, a country that is broadly beloved and accepted all over the world, a country that opened for production, for innovations, for trade, that is free, that is open. A country that is respected all over the world, and a nation that is ambitious to achieve much more. And we learn, and that's why we're coming, all of us here together, with the best, which is Israel and people of Israel, starting up businesses, bringing new industries. At the end, we are going to talk today about the future, but the biggest industry of the future, no matter who you talk to, the biggest guys, the brightest minds, they will tell you the biggest industry of the future is life sciences. The biggest, the brightest, the one with the biggest opportunities, and it is just starting up. And of course, most of the dynamics comes from Israel, where IMPROVATE is at home, where IMPROVATE is presenting the best platform for companies out of Israel that are global, that are successful, to come to the markets. And on the other side, to all of us who love, respect, and who are ambitious to do more for our own countries, to be very efficient. And yes, the world is changing. We're going to talk a lot about that today. But as the world is changing, globalization, question marks, problems, you see now, long term, it's not going to be the same with Russia and the Russian influence in the world. On the long term, probably China is going to play another role. And that is why the solution, very simply said, is globalization, but the regionalization. It means that if you want to be globally strong, you have to be regionally strong, and you have to be locally strong. Anyone who represents an ambition to do something in the world has to regionalize its business and has to have good local partners, production facilities. And here we come, you might ask, why Budapest? It's a great city. We have the best possible view out of those windows. And that's what IMPROVATE always does. The best from the best is for us always available. But it's not just that. Budapest is in the middle of a region that is just now starting to enjoy even a bigger dynamics. Because if you just compare the western part of Europe and the eastern part of Europe, especially Central Europe, Southeast Europe, it is here where we have a lot of dynamics coming, a lot of factories, a lot of opportunities, a lot of money available for good projects that make sense and that are and will be profitable. And we want to be part of that dynamics, of course. And that's why IMPROVATE is right here on the right place in the right time. Even pandemics is not over, but we're here. And it makes to all of us a great sense. And yes, you have presidents, prime ministers, former, acting, representing different ministries, people from business, big, small, startups, all of us together, because only together we can generate these networks that will help us thrive in the business. And at the end, IMPROVATE is about bringing people together, about serving businesses, is about understanding the countries in a very easy and efficient way, is bringing you to country-specific delegations, in country-specific arrangements, but it is also bringing results. And we are so proud because when we look at the region, we see a lot of results that have been empowered by IMPROVATE, and we're just at the beginning what is going to be. Dear friends, I'm very proud to be with you, and let's come to business. We will see great speakers today. We will meet, we will see us in the eyes. We will be together, and we will be building up a better business environment. We will be understanding Central Eastern Europe much better. And really, you will see so many examples today of what can you do in a region that is representing approximately 100 million people, 14 countries, including the 4 in Central Europe and 10 in Southeast Europe, that come together as a region that is strong, it has a lot of dynamics. And from here, I promise to you, we will rebuild Ukraine. And one day, we will conquer Russia in another way, in a democratic, free, open way, as people of Israel always do, because you were fighting for peace, and you believe in peace, and you know how to build up peace, which is based on fairness, on human rights, given and taken hands, looking in the eyes and saying, let's be correct and let's do something for good together. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Let's stand together for what is good and let's build up something to last, using IMPROVATE as a family. Thank you.